Welcome back to Jumpscare. I'm Betty B. Dudley.
And I'm Chad Youngblood.
We're finishing our Twisted Love Month with this choice that we made of a movie that we have never seen before, The Loved Ones, that came out in 2009. It's an Australian film by Sean Byrne, who also did The Devil's Candy.
Yes, and we like that one quite a bit.
We love that movie. He is a pretty unique director. He definitely has a vision. I don't know why I did not see The Loved Ones when it came out. I know it wasn't like a wide release, but it definitely is very intriguing. And I actually didn't know until we researched the film that he had also done The Devil's Candy.
Yeah.
When we watched The Devil's Candy, we just accepted it for what it was, and we moved on with our lives. We didn't really go Googling and seeing what else is he doing or what he did.
You can tell he definitely he likes horror movies and he likes heavy metal.
He loves heavy metal, and I'm not into heavy metal really. I don't hate it, but I'm not listening to it. It's fine. I'm
the only bad part about it is because they're such low budget movies. They have to make up all the bands that they're listening to in there. And it's not that the music that they're playing on it is terrible. It's decent, but it would be nice if they could actually throw in a band you heard of on there. Could someone have on a Metallica or a Slayer or even a crazy Cannibal Corpse poster or something up on the wall? But nobody does it because it's the low budget movies. They can't afford that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it'd be cool if it was I don't really know because we didn't really do research on that, but maybe some of the bands he uses are maybe local bands in Australia that are doing heavy metal, because that would be pretty cool if he did that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
To give a little recognition to those bands.
They're for sure things that I think are mostly created for, at least this one, mostly created for the movie.
Yes. This film was definitely the best choice for Twisted Love Month. I think out of all the movies that we did this month, this is the one that fits our Twisted Love theme. And more than just one aspect of it, it's super creepy, and it made me feel really uneasy, just like The Devil's Candy. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, obviously from the beginning, but overall, creepy as hell.
Yeah, it starts off very, innocently. It's the kid and his dad. He's kind of learning how to drive. They're driving down the road when suddenly someone steps out in front of them, and this guy is shirtless. He has a scar of some kind. You can't really see what it is on his chest. They try to avoid hitting him and crash into a tree, which causes the father to die.
Yeah, so the movie fast forwards a couple of months, I think 6 months, and you see the character Brent, the son. He is hanging around with his girlfriend, whatnot. They, are doing the whole makeout thing in school, and he gets approached by some chick. The chick asks him, her name is Lola. She asks him to the dance that's coming up, and he, respectfully declines and lets her know that he's going with Holly, who's his girlfriend. And she's like, okay, whatever, goes about her business.
See, that's what I thought was interesting about it, was that they didn't paint him out like he was a jerk. He just said, oh no, I'm going with someone else, sorry, and went away. It wasn't one of those things where she's kind of the nerdy outcast girl, so it would have been very easy for him to have done it where he said something really shitty to her, and later on you kind of feel like, well, maybe he had that coming. But, he was perfectly nice to her.
Yeah, he was really nice to her. I mean, like you said, unexpected. You think he's like, no, get out of here, nerd. Get out of my face. So, yeah, he has problems. Needless to say, he has some guilt. The fact that he killed his dad, but he feels like he killed his dad because he was the one driving. He feels responsible.
Besides smoking a lot of weed, he's cutting himself.
Yeah, he's a cutter. He got the Christina Ricci vibes.
And he's got the razor blade on necklace around his neck that he uses.
Yeah, so he's a dedicated cutter.
Yeah, he doesn't leave home without it.
Nope.
And he is going to go to the dance with his girlfriend. He's telling his mother about this. And his mother is terrified for him to be in a car. The girlfriend is going to come pick him up, and she doesn't want him to be in the car because she's still afraid that just being in the car is going to get him killed too.
Yeah, she's not really liking that idea whatsoever. Even asked him to like take a cab, and it's such a pure interaction because she just looks so grief stricken.
You can tell she hasn't gotten over it. She's still living in that moment where she got the call.
Yeah, and the Brent is just trying really hard to like keep it together, and he decides, like most teenagers do, I guess, maybe in Australia, like, you know what, I'm gonna go on like one of those nature walks where I'm gonna climb up a fucking side of a mountain, and
well, it
it's like a ridge, like a cliff.
Yeah, he's kind of climbing up a little, like a cliff, and he's hanging off of it, kind of just by his fingertips, hanging on. And you kind of get the idea maybe he wants to let go, maybe he wants to die. But then when he starts to kind of slip, he grabs on.
Yeah.
So he's just trying to compensate for the guilt, but you can tell he feels really bad, and he's not sure if he's kind of suicidal, but maybe not really. Maybe he just wants to hurt himself because he feels like he deserves it.
Yeah, and he's listening to, obviously, his heavy metal music on his whatever he has there, iPod. I don't really if it was an iPod, but some kind of MP3 player.
I'm sure they didn't have the money to put an iPod in it back then, 2009.
And, he reaches the top and he's overlooking the cliff and he's like chilling, and then all of a sudden someone comes up behind him, chloroforms his ass, throws him in the trunk. That's the last you see him. And you're like, holy shit, that just took a fucking turn.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
Completely unexpected. And even more unexpected when you see that he is now tied to a chair and he's in the house of the girl that asked him to the dance,
Lola,
and her father is there, and that he is the one that chloroformed his ass and brought him over to his house for probably the worst couple of hours of this boy's life.
Yeah, this is the problem. If you thought Carrie had a bad prom, it was nothing compared to Brent's.
No, hell no. Okay, yeah, fine. Carrie killed like a lot of people.
I mean, Carrie got a bucket of blood dumped on her and killed a bunch of people. Way worse shit happens to Brent, and he still killed a bunch of people, so I guess that doesn't really...
Yeah, well, not that many, not as much as Carrie, but still, pretty bad scenario. He's dressed to go to a dance, and, the girl, Lola, she gets ready for the dance, and her dad, has bought her this nice pink dress and these amazing shoes that I needed.
Which she proceeds to change into the dress while her dad's still in the room.
Yeah, and she asks him not to leave, and he does not turn around, nor does he close his eyes as he watches his daughter try the dress on, like slip the dress over her, bends down, puts the dress on, wiggles into it, like there's a close shot of like her body. And it was super creepy. I was like, okay, this is inappropriate. And she tries the dress on, gets all dolled up, and is ready for her quote unquote date with Brent, who's tied to a chair in the middle of the living room / dining room area.
Yeah, and there's also another woman there, an older woman that they call Bright Eyes.
Yeah, Bright Eyes.
And Bright Eyes has anything but bright eyes.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't have any bright eyes. She has sad doll eyes.
A hole drilled in her head.
Yeah.
And maybe her brain's been scrambled. Yeah. Definitely her brain's been scrambled.
Spoiler alert: there might be some scrambled brains in this episode.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, Brent's friend is off at the dance where Brent was supposed to go with Holly, and he hasn't even noticed his friend's not there because he's got the super goth girl at the school with him, and he could care less about what's going on. They're smoking weed like a chimney out in the parking lot, making out,
drinking booze.
Yeah, they're having a hell of a time. And by this point, Holly and Brent's mother have noticed that he hasn't shown up, so they've got the sheriff out looking for him, which the sheriff just happens to be the father of the girl that Brent's friend's making out with.
Yeah, and They go back and forth with showing this couple, and showing what Brent's going through, and also what his girlfriend and mom are going through. You're kind of like,
And
I'm
also,
gonna say really late in the movie, don't even know what the connection is between the friend and the date that he has, the
you can
goth girl.
see that the goth girl he's on the date with is definitely damaged.
She's dead inside. I mean,
There's something wrong with her because
no pun intended.
yeah, she's definitely not all there. She's very out of it acting. You can tell that she's smoking weed for reasons other than just getting high.
Yeah, she looks miserable. She's really living up to the whole like goth image. And so they go and they're, just hanging out in the parking lot, whatnot. Back at, Lola's house, he goes through a whole bunch of things. I mean, I'm not gonna go like through step by step, but we'll just say that he got some syringe bullshit in his neck, which we have no idea what the fuck that was, but that like literally fucked up his vocal cords, and now he's like screeching. He cannot speak whatsoever.
It's you remember in Motel Hell when they had him buried in the ground and they were making the weird like noise?
Yes.
It's very similar to that.
It is very similar to that. There are slight homages to other things in this film, but they all come together to create something new. But yeah, definitely very Motel Hellish with the whole screeching thing. And the first like from this point on, it's like cringeworthy for me. Like he has to go to the bathroom, so she's like, okay. She then proceeds to like take his like penis out. Mind you, Dad's still in the room. They're actually still sitting on the dining room table because they had like this like weird finger licking good moment with the chicken that they were being served before like all of this crap happened.
The Colonel would not approve of that.
He would definitely not. RoboCop Colonel would come in and just like kill everybody. Everyone's just doing terrible things. You're a bad citizen. Like you're out. And yeah, he doesn't pee because of course, how could you pee in this situation? Your girl that just kidnapped you like is holding your penis in a cup, and the cup that she just gulped milk from, by the way. And Dad's there watching all of this and like just watching with his big eyes. And she asks Daddy to go and get the hammer and the nail and tells him, if you do not pee in the next like 10 seconds, my father's gonna hammer your dick to this chair.
It's like, well, that's how this date's going.
Yeah, and
I don't care how bad a date you've had until you had someone threaten to nail your dick to a chair. It's not a bad date.
And we got the name of our episode. So here you go. You're about to get your shit nailed to a chair. Needless to say, he does pee. Thankfully, at like 1.
I think that was like a therapy. That was where he finally just thought about it and just actually pissed himself uncontrollably. That was where it finally came out.
Yeah. Then just all these other terrible things. He tries to escape. It doesn't work out for him. He tries to escape. I mean, wouldn't you try to escape like several fucking times? He doesn't really get far. I mean, the farthest he got was like up a tree. That wasn't really that far.
Yeah, that was kind of a terrible plan.
And then it's like, let's whip out with the creepy album of all of my awesome dates that I had before you. And then you come to see that Lola has been a psycho from an early age. So this shit is obviously hereditary. Like, Daddy Cuckoo obviously made a cuckoo fuck daughter. Like, they're just not right in the head, pun intended. And you'll know why later. And, yeah, she's been doing this since she was like, it looked like she was like 7.
Yeah. And you also see the picture of, they talk about the one who got away, and that one happens to be the guy that walked out in front of Brent and his dad previously and caused them to have the car wreck. So not only has she ruined his life this way, she ruined his life the other way too.
Yeah, and once Brent sees the guy and makes that connection, it's just like, that's when he just is like, oh my god, like everything just... it's like a clear moment for him because it's like it wasn't my fault because this is crazy bitch. This crazy bitch did this, and her action, caused my father for me to swerve and kill my father. Like have my father killed, I should say. Um,
Because I feel like they kind of like since the guy like jumped out in front of him and then apparently just kept walking, that there was no, I guess there was no proof of what happened. So they must have just chalked it up to he lost control of the car.
Yeah,
And
and then
crashed.
if he even says like there was someone in the middle of the road, whatever, they're like, we didn't see anybody, and you probably have a fucking concussion, so we don't believe you, kind of thing.
Yeah, I kind of got the feeling that they all kind of blamed him, like, oh, you're just such a terrible fucking driver. That's what happened.
Yeah, which didn't work out for him, which is why he didn't have a license and has to depend on his girlfriend. So girlfriend and mom. The girlfriend and mom interactions were more like heartfelt. They were more like they were I don't want to say grieving, but they were just they were solace, and they didn't know where he had gone to because his dog, which we forgot to mention, his dog was with him doing his little like ridge adventure early, and he comes back like struggling to walk, and he died, right?
Yeah, the crazy father hit him with a hammer.
Yeah, it was really sad.
Yeah, he made it all the way home.
Yeah, he made it all the way home to have his last like death like sigh, and then died. Which, if it wasn't for the dog, they wouldn't even have known like that something bad happened to Brent
Yeah,
to begin
because
with.
that was when she calls the sheriff and says, "Hey, something happened to Brent. He's disappeared. We can't find him." And he kind of, oh, he's done this before. He's a teenager. And they're like, "Well, his dog never came back home stabbed before."
Yeah, and died.
Yeah, so that kind of lets you know right off that when you call the police and they're like, "Hey, he's not just missing. His dog's dead, and somebody stabbed it." That gets him moving a little faster than just the teenager might be missing.
So, back at the house, um, the other thing that happens to him, I mean, he has tried to escape now. He tried to escape using his razor blade necklace that he kept in his pocket to try to get the ropes like broken off and loose so then he can wiggle out and peace out. Um, that caused him actually to get his feet nailed to the fucking like took his shoes off and they nailed his foot to the damn floor.
Yeah, with like a knife.
Yeah, that was another cringeworthy thing. I'm not really one for gore. This movie was gore for me. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't like extreme gore. It just had very cringeworthy like gorish moments.
It was very like it was stuff that you thought, "Oh God, I've stepped on a nail or something like that and had it really hurt." So you get the idea how bad that would be through your feet.
It's not a good time, and you feel bad for him. Like he just can't fucking catch a break.
Yeah, all he did was turn a girl down for a dance because he had a girlfriend, and he's in this situation.
I wonder what he would have if he would have said yes. Would this had been a completely different, or actually there wouldn't be a movie. But if this would have ever been a thing where she would have been like, okay, cool, they would have got to the dance like normal, and then she just waited for the next victim, or was he fucked like either way?
Or would it have just been like when he showed up at the house to pick her up? Would he have just pulled her inside and been like, "No, we're gonna have our own dance"?
Yeah, well, Daddy did decorate the inside of the house with little lights and bought you a nice dress and amazing shoes. And
You're really into this crazy bitch's shoes.
when I saw the shoes, I was like, I need to know where those shoes are from. So if the director happens to ever listen to this, I need to find out where these shoes came from, which you probably do not know, but ask the person that did the clothing for the film, please. Because they were pink. They were strappy sandals, and they had a beautiful bow at the back of the foot, and I'm a sucker for bows. I love me some bows. I even have a tattoo of a bow on me. The only tattoo that I have. But, poor Brent, then we get into the creepiest thing of all. It's, you're useless to me. You're not who I need you to be. You're not my prince. And I'm gonna go now have a dance with my father, and
Because he's my prince.
yeah,
He's always been the prince.
yeah, which she tells her father. I mean, after like I guess the several guys that this has happened to, she's decided that Daddy's the only man in her life that can ever satisfy her. And they're about to share disgusting kiss.
So yeah, they share their creepy daddy daughter kiss after the dance, and that's when you find out that they have a special technique for the ones that don't please her, which have been none so far. And that the one who got away was of course the one that caused the accident. But they Jeffrey Dahmer them by drilling into their skull and pouring boiling water in, which is what they did to Bright Eyes, which kind of lobotomizes them.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
And then they've already given him the shot of like bleach, or I wasn't really sure what it was. I think if you were in Australia, you'd recognize the bottle. They didn't really show you the label; they just showed the bottle. And I'm sure if in Australia, you'd recognize what it was right away. And they gave him an injection of that in the neck. So then you find out that in the basement under the crawl space, not the crawl space, cellar, like Evil Dead style, they open up the hole in the floor, and there's all the previous dates underneath there, and they're feeding them roadkill.
Yeah, it's a disgusting scene because they're just. I mean, all you hear is like that weird screeching noise coming out from below, and it's super like disturbing.
Yeah, it's beyond creepy. And then when he realizes that's what's going to happen, I mean, they drill into his head.
Yeah, they do. They drill.
They actually crack the skull, but they don't get to pour the water in. That's when he fights back.
Yeah, she Lola is able to do it. This is her first drilling, and it's a father daughter bonding moment, and she doesn't really do a good job, and she kind of slips the first time she does it, and then she can't. The hole's too small, so Daddy has to take care of that, and he has to go and drill in. And you think like something's gonna happen before all this whole drilling thing starts, like oh he's gonna be able to escape, or they're not gonna be able to drill. But no, they drill through his poor head, and
Yeah, they
terrifying.
stopped short of just scrambling his brain with the drill. But that's when the razor blade necklace that he had earlier comes into play, because he manages to get that, get his hands free with it, and slash the hell out of Daddy's face.
Yep.
And he puts Daddy down in the pit with the guys who are eating the roadkill, and they're not real particular since they've all had their brains boiled with a Mr. Coffee.
Yeah, and they're like dirty and naked. They kind of look like regular tone, like skin tone versions of like the Descent.
Yeah, like the Descent, or like some like the 28 Days Later zombies.
Yeah, they're just really fucked up, and just animalistic. And it's fucking. It was like Thanksgiving for them at this point because they're just about to have a feast.
Yeah, they were gonna fight like over a dead possum, so you can imagine how happy they were to have the whole guy thrown down in there.
Yeah, and Lola is beside herself with all the emotions that go with losing, your daddy boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah, that's never a good time when you lose both of those. um, and at this point, we the girlfriend, what was her name, Haley?
Holly.
Holly. She realizes that she starts thinking about it and thinks, the last person he talked to that day before me when he disappeared was Lola. So I'll mention the name to the sheriff and see what happens. Now, it was kind of unclear. The sheriff seemed really upset when they mentioned their name. Maybe they're like known in town as being a little bit creepy. But the sheriff went right out there immediately, peeks into the window and sees the blood everywhere. And is hearing the creepy noises, but can't quite figure out where they're coming from. So
he goes and he's like going in, and this is the point in the movie where you're like, you know what? Please don't go in by yourself. This is a shit show you're walking into. You got like one gun. You have nothing, no protection whatsoever. You're going blind into this situation. Can you call from backup? I know it's Australia. There's probably like one other cop that's gonna come out, but someone is better than no one. And no, that doesn't happen here. He goes into the house and he starts investigating bullshit, and he's like starts the Brent hears He knows that there's someone, that's entered, whatever, and he's trying to catch their attention, and he looks down in the fucking hole, and that was a bad choice, because as soon as he fucking has his back turned, he's looking down that hole, there's when Lola comes in and fucking takes care of his ass.
Yeah. And I'll say to Brent's credit down in the hole, the sheriff drops a gun down in there, and he wastes no time just trying to shoot that bitch on top.
Yeah, he just, no hesitation, bang, 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 like right after. Needless to say, he does miss. And
well, to be fair, it's like that Simpsons episode where they were criticizing Homer, and he said, "Well, I am missing the back of my head."
That's true.
Yeah, so I mean, I can't blame him for not being too accurate. He's already had a hole drilled in his head today.
That's true. And he still has like one leg that's a working leg, because the other one also has a nail in its fucking hole.
Well, he
in
nailed
his
both
foot.
feet down, so.
Oh yeah, he did nail both feet down.
Yeah, he nailed both feet down, so both
fucked.
feet are like, he's stumping around on that. He's got no voice, and he's got a hole in his head.
Yeah, and he's surrounded by cannibalistic naked boys.
Yeah.
So it's just a bad time overall. Somewhere during this point, you come to find out that the sheriff and the daughter, which is the goth girl that's back with the dance, which is like a weird, inappropriate like dance, that they finally enter the dance after hanging out in the parking lot, and she starts grabbing his junk. And they get, be asked to leave, and then they end up fucking in the back of his car.
I love the fact that principal, though, like, tells them, if you're going to do this kind of stuff, go somewhere else. They go outside, and they're fucking in the car, and the principal just taps on the window and is like, I meant somewhere other than the school parking lot.
Yeah.
He's got to be the coolest principal there is, because he could have called all kinds of shit on that, caused problems, but he was just like, please go fuck somewhere other than the lot, okay? Thanks.
Yeah, for real. Like, coolest principal ever.
Yeah, props to that guy for not being stuffy. He's like the anti-principal from Back to the Future.
So you find a connection that her brother was the guy that got away from the beginning of the movie that caused the death of the dad. And that's why she's all in goth mode. Needless to say, now it's a really sad time for them because now the daddy's dead.
So that family's lost two people to them now.
Yeah, so God knows what's going to happen to Goth Girl, because they don't really expand more upon her story. They kind of just leave that, like, hanging dry. The date escorts her back home, and, that's already a done deal. That's the last time she sees her dad, is when she comes back home from the dance. So it's fit around there somewhere with that. But Lola and Brent, now you feel bad for Brent because he's like down in this cellar. There's no way for him to get out. Shad actually was very intuitive and was like, I don't know, I think it's gonna prop all these dead bodies and bones and shit and make a fucking human ladder with the people that are down here, because of course, obviously, Brent had to take care of all the cannibalistic crazy buttholes that are down there, because they're cannibalistic crazy buttholes.
Yeah, they're chuds.
Yeah, so nice. So
there's only one way to deal with chuds.
He does make the human thing ladder to get up there, and
because Lola has told him that I'm gonna go to your house now and I'm gonna stab your mother, and then I'm gonna go stab your girlfriend.
Yeah, you took my heart and whatever. She's fucking distraught over the whole daddy boyfriend thing. Before she leaves, she's like, I gotta take care of one thing of unfinished business. And she goes and she suffocates Bright Eyes, who you find out is her mother.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, because she doesn't treat her like a mother at all. And that must have been a creepy thing to be like all fucked up in the head. Like how we don't know the extent of how, because she never talked, so we don't know if she had a tongue or not. But you don't know the extent to like what the mother had to like endure and see, like in a normal day in this house. Like what was a normal day? Like, oh, daddy's gonna watch me put my panties on. Like, that's fucking weird. It's just weird overall.
Yeah. So at this point, like, his girlfriend Holly is like, I haven't heard from the sheriff. I'm gonna go out to that place and see what's going on. And Lola is apparently hiding in the trees, just waits for and throws like her math book down, or it was like the album she had with all the stuff.
Yes, her creepy album.
She throws the creepy album down. When the Holly stops to get out, she jumps out at her, and like we both said the same thing. When Lola opens the door to the car and is standing there with a knife, floor it.
Yeah, there was an uncomfortable stare for a really long period of time. It's like she's not trying to have a conversation about the new items that just came into the fucking Claire's. She's fucking there to stab you. Like she has a big ass Michael Myers fucking kitchen knife in her hand. Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, floor that little Volkswagen. Even if you're going 20 miles an hour, I bet she can't run 20 miles an hour.
I don't know.
So just floor it. But no, they end up fighting in the car, and at this point, Brent has finally gotten out of the pit. He hops in the police car, and he's driving like, I think it said 140 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
So he's going super fast down that road. And he sees Lola out there in the road, and I'll give him credit, man. He just runs her ass down.
That's exactly what I would have fucking done.
Yeah, and then he reunites with Holly, and while they're sitting in the car, you hear Lola crawling up the road, clinking the knife. She's doing it like pulling herself with the knife up the road, ready to stab him some more. And they do the smart thing.
She got the dead legs.
Yeah. You know, I always hated the movies when they're like, I'm going to go back and try and deal with them. No, just back the car over them.
Yeah, let the fucking machine that weighs tons take care of the business while you're encased in safety.
Yeah, just roll over him, which is what he does.
Yes, he sure does roll over her. I do love that scene though, because there's a close up shot of her, and then there's a long shot where you get to see there's like three angled shots, and you get to see it from, just a side view, the view from behind the vehicle, so the point of view from both of the characters are sitting in front of the car, and then a close up shot of Lola, and it's just like so intense how much she's just like, you know what, I'm just fucking angry and I'm gonna kill you and I'm gonna do it, and she like has no legs, like she's just like literally dragging herself, and it is a sight to see. It's actually one of my favorite scenes in a film. Visually, I thought it was pretty fucking neat. What that looked like, because you don't ever see that either. They killed the person, or you don't really see the person like drag themselves on a hot concrete. Like it's hot as fuck in Australia. I can only imagine like how hot that concrete was.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much the end of the movie. The only complaint I really have about the movie is that I wish this was one of the movies that had done a 6 months later epilogue where you could see like, hey, is he okay? I mean, he's not okay mentally, but like, did he recover? Is he walking? Did he get his voice back? Those are things I wanted to know.
Yeah, in the list of torturous things that happened to him, so we're gonna run through real quick. So he gets, the whole penis pee thing, that was kind of torture, but he gets to keep his penis, so we're not gonna count that. He gets her letters, her LS Lola Stone, carved into his chest, which is her signature thing that she does to all the guys, and a heart, kind of like if she was carving it on a tree, on his chest, that she like scooped up, terribly, like
she used a fork.
Yeah, just.
And this is not like a small one. This is like from his collarbone to his belly button.
Yeah, it is like there's no way he would be able to fix that. Like I don't even know if like skin grafting like would even like help that out, because it is pretty. I mean, she dug that shit like it was like a pumpkin. Like it was a deep digging. So that happened to him. Then he got both of his feet nailed to the ground. Then he got his brain, like a hole in his cranium.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And then he's got the whole, like, bleached his voice box.
Yeah, he has no voice now, so there's that.
I was really thinking that first they were going to do a thing, like, because he'd been in the car accident, like maybe he had a metal plate in his skull, and when they went to drill through, it was going to just slide off, and that's how he was going to get out.
Yeah, I thought so too, because you were just wholeheartedly, like, believe that is exactly what was going to happen. I'm like, that's perfect, that makes total fucking sense, I'm going with this shot, I totally agree, that's where that's going.
Yeah, but the movie went a lot of places you didn't think it was going to.
I give this movie 4 knives.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And it definitely, is a good ending to our Twisted Love Month.
Yeah, you don't get any more twisted than daddy daughter love.
No. We did want to add like a little bonus addition to our Twisted Love Month, an honorable mention, I guess.
Yeah.
We would say we decided we were gonna catch uh, a film called Cutting Class,
Yes.
and I mean, there's so many things. I was Brad Pitt's in it. Let's just throw that out there right off the bat. We saw this off of YouTube, and it is pretty terrible. The main guy, the main quote unquote guy from the Blob, the one that gets killed, the Good Samaritan, he's in the film. Um,
Jill Schoen from Popcorn and several others.
yeah, she's in the film. There's a lot of recognizable people. Obviously, the most recognizable person that's still working in the industry is Brad Pitt. But the film has so much potential. Uh,
I don't know how you make a boring slasher movie, but they found a way.
it is the most boring slasher. I fell asleep. I only got through. I probably missed like some of the middle, and then I caught the end. And I'm not ashamed to say that. And there's no way. I mean, like 30 minutes into the movie, still nothing happened. Like it was just so boring, and
And sadly, you get to see Roddy McDowall in it, and he just plays the pervy principal who is telling the cheerleaders, hey, it's no problem, just try on your uniform right here in my office. I'll turn around and face this bookcase that has a mirror on it. Don't mind me.
yeah, it was not Roddy McDowell. I mean, my goodness, I was like, no, Roddy, please.
I don't want to think of Roddy McDowall like that.
No, he's not a creeper. Like I love you. No, this is not going for me. I don't like it at all, but not one bit. But essentially the film is about a kid that gets sent away to a mental institution for killing a father.
Trying to kill a father.
Trying to kill a father.
He cut his brake lines.
And and he comes back. He's released years later, and he's doing supposedly better. And Brad Pitt was his friend, and
It was his dad whose brake lines they slashed.
yes, and it was like essentially a prank, and he took the fall for it. But he had like every day they like went and like broke into the school. It was like this whole thing where they broke into the school because the freaking daughter, she was like, she had the key, she was like the responsible goody two shoes, and she had the key to like where the records were, and they were able to go into the guy's records and find out that he was institutionalized for whatever, and they'd like electrocute his ass, like did
Electroshock therapy.
yes, every day, like, and that fucked him up, needless to say. For a long time, I didn't think he was a killer. I thought he was a creeper because he was always hiding behind things. The worst thing he hid behind was the guy's like 6 feet tall, but I had to take a good guess. He's a big fucking guy. He's like crouched down behind the cooler and like,
Yeah, behind one of those big water coolers.
yes, and you can see, and someone gets water from there. No one sees like a fucking wide, like out, like stretched out face, like behind a water
Yeah,
cooler.
his giant head. He looks like the head from that MTV show.
Yes. How did he was like the fucking face of Bo. Like how did he literally fit behind this cooler? I have so many questions. But oh my gosh, it's just, and then he's stalking the girlfriend the whole time, and he's
Brad Pitt's girlfriend.
Brad Pitt's girlfriend, yes. And Brad Pitt's just an asshole. He like almost ran over a fucking kid, in the beginning of the movie while they were like, the kid was on his tricycle, and he's like, "Oh, I'll see you again next week." Like this film.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that it didn't make a lot of sense. There was just weird. I don't know. It seemed like it might have been a made-for-TV kind of thing, and then maybe they added just a little bit of gore to amp it up. But I don't know. It had a very weird comic tone to it, but it wasn't really a comedy.
Yeah, it was like a dark comedy, but a slasher film that was trying to be a slasher film. There was just so many things not going on. They didn't really. It wasn't really a strong idea. It was a very weak idea. I think they were just going on like the whole revenge thing, the whole cutting class thing. That they just really fucked that up at the end of the movie because they were like, "Oh shit, we haven't mentioned anything about cutting class. No one actually cut class in this movie. So we are gonna just have to have, the father say, "Hope you weren't cutting class. Are you supposed to be in school? Like, are you cutting class?" Yeah, it's hot garbage. Do not watch this film.
Please do not pay like $30 or $40 for it on one of those special editions. It is not worth it.
No, definitely not. I mean, if you want to like get drunk, I mean, find another way to get drunk because this is gonna save you so much money. Do not like watch it on YouTube if you need to. I wish I can get back most of my time that I used watching this film because I love an obscure YouTube like upload from fucking VHS. Like, oh shit, this is a movie that never even made it to DVD, kind of thing. Like, that's cool. I wish, there would be more movies like that. And you watch it and you think it's going to be like this, like, probably not a hidden gem, but at least enjoyable. Like, oh, this is pretty good. No, this
Nope.
was not this movie. I give this movie actually 25 stabs. Like,
For being terrible.
yes, yes, definitely. Cutting class sucks major balls.
Yeah, so skip this one.
Yeah, for sure. If you guys like what you hear, leave us a comment, a review, subscribe. We're on YouTube now. So, you're not going to be able to see us, but you can hear us. If you don't have Podbean, which we're also on, or iTunes, which we're also on. We're, trying to hit all the platforms. There's so many of them out there. We're also on Instagram, and we're also on Facebook as the Orlando Horror Society. If you live in the area, send us a message. Like, we would love to hear from you. It's very, important to us to know, like, how we're doing and what's going on. Soon we're going to be entering, a different month, and we're going to be doing a whole set of different movies, and kind of talking about future Orlando, Florida events that are going to be happening, things that we're going to be attending, which should be pretty cool. So let us know how it's going, and stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.